Hey everybody, it's Peter Diamandis. It's a pleasure to join you via video. I apologize for not being there in person or by Beam Robot. I'm actually on the last vacation with my family that started this morning. We flew into a deserted island and we're camping for the next 4 days with my 4-year-old. So if I could clone myself or teleport there, I would be there in a microsecond. So let me open with answering 3 questions. What's in the sort of the future of Seattle for space? What's exciting for 2016? And then if I were an entrepreneur starting today, what would I be focused on? So the first part of this is for Seattle. I think Seattle is becoming an intersection of extraordinary tech talent, data sciences, virtual worlds, and an amazing place to live, and a much more affordable place to live than Silicon Valley. And that's bringing a lot of incredible space talent. Obviously, we've got Planetary Resources based there. We have a number of other legacy companies like Boeing in the Seattle area. We have the new arrival of SpaceX. So I think that Seattle has a lot to work with. And I think we're going to start to see more and more space companies popping up out of Seattle, really because of the technology base that exists right there. I think in concert with that, what's exciting for 2016 and 2017, which plays directly into the cards held by Seattle, is we're going to start to see the proliferation and test flight and eventual success of a number of new launch capabilities. There's besides what Virgin Galactic is doing, there's a multitude of other small launchers. I got into this business, God, I don't know, now 15 years, 20 years ago, looking at could you provide, for $1 million, 50 kilograms to space. And I think that's where we're going to be heading, where we now have a proliferation of 1U, 3U, 6U, 12U sats that can fly to orbit on a more and more regular basis at a lower and lower cost, which means more and more entrepreneurs can get into this. So 2016, we're going to see some continued progress and launches by Planetary Resources. I believe we're going to see the return of Falcon 9 to flight and also the demonstration of its successful first stage landing. We're going to start to see the plans rolling out for a number of orbital space constellations. I mean, one of the most amazing things coming down the pike is the fact that we're going from 2.8 billion people connected today on the internet to, over the next 5 years, 8 billion people connected, where every single person on the planet is going to have the chance to have connectivity to the internet. We're going to be seeing that from things like Google Loon, what Facebook is doing, what SpaceX is doing, what Richard Branson and Paul Jacobs with OneWeb is doing, and a number of other players entering this market. So a telecommunications boom is going to hit over these next few years, much the same way that we saw with Globalstar and Iridium now, 20 years ago. But this time, I think the tech and the price points are going to work for this global proliferation of connectivity. At the same time, we also have a global proliferation of imaging systems. Right? Everything from Skybox and Planet Lab and what Planetary Resources is doing to a multitude of other companies, at least a dozen other companies. So we're going to be able to have spacecraft in orbit seeing everything on the planet's surface in all kinds of different spectra at different revisit points, really getting you to the point where you can know anything you want, anytime you want, anywhere you want on the planet. And so that's going to be an explosion in that Earth imaging arena. So for me, the most important thing is that these are driving new business models and driving new revenue capabilities. I think in 2016, we'll also see a couple of front runners coming into the Google Lunar X Prize. A few announcements I hear off in the near-term distance that will make it hopefully sure that someone will win that $30 million in prize money from Google for being the first commercial player to land on the moon. And then finally, if I were an entrepreneur, what would I be doing? And it's really getting into one of these entrepreneurial games. It takes a lot of cash still to get to the space business, no question about that. But ultimately, the cost is coming down precipitously. It's not the same as starting a website right now, but it's not far, right? The ability to build a 1U and test it and get something up there. We saw some incredible successes with what the team out of Planet Labs has done. I just think we're going to see an explosion of capabilities coming online from entrepreneurs like yourself. So it's coming up with business models, coming up with business ideas. Also, how do you make use of existing assets in new ways and creating data overlays? So space is a full stack of capability from the end customer through to the spacecraft in orbit. If you're driven by the passion of space, enjoy. But remember, it's a long game. This is not an overnight success. It's an overnight success after 10 years of hard work. For me, X Prize and Zero Gravity, both were 10-year, 11-year startups. And ultimately, even SpaceX, is now really become vibrant, but after a decade of hard work. So you've got to be driven by your passion if you're doing this space game. And believe me, I do believe that the first trillionaires will be made in space, and everything we hold of value on Earth, metals, minerals, energy, real estate, are near infinite quantities in space. Enjoy the conference. I wish I was there with you. Talk to you guys soon.